Comic-Con going for so far?
Good. It's been pretty short so far. I just got here probably 2.5 hours ago, but so far so good. I got here, I checked into my hotel, I took a bunch of pictures with a Shelby super snake,
Yeah.
my life for the last 19 months. I came here to start doing these interviews, then I do a panel tonight about Getaway, and then tomorrow I get to go check out the convention floor.
Yeah. Oh, obviously you're introducing the Getaway. So far, what we have seen so far is just a trailer. Could you tell us more about the movie?
Sure, what do you want to know?
The plot, the villain,
Wow.
everything.
I can't tell you all that. You know that gig. I can't tell you all that. The movie essentially is the story of a man trying to save his wife thrown into very unenviable circumstances and having to decide between doing right and wrong in order to save his loved one, which I think is an interesting dilemma. It's interesting because I've been reading some of the stuff from the trailer online. It's a deceptive trailer in a certain way, in so much as it's absolutely true to what the story is, but what we don't show you is what the bad guy is after at all, and we don't give you any mention of what the bad guy is after. Actually, there's a whole reason that this is going on, that people have made comparisons to Taken, and I mean the closest comparison to Taken is his wife, instead of the daughter in Taken, is taken in order to drive Ethan's character Brent Magna to do what this guy wants. But other than that, it's a whole different plot entirely, and what he's after is a whole different thing, and everything he's making him do, and even the whole point of driving in the car, is all part of a plan that our villain has. But we didn't disclose any of that in the trailer because we don't want to give it away, because otherwise it ruins the movie.
Absolutely. So obviously Ethan Hawke, who's in the movie, the main character, he is not like anything like Liam Neeson in Taken, trying to save somebody, right?
Well, I mean, he is trying to save his wife because the guy has kidnapped his wife at the beginning of the movie to force him to do what he wants. But Liam Neeson, his daughter gets taken in a very generic way, and not generic, but what I mean is it's a prostitution ring, if I remember correctly, in the movie, right? And so people randomly get taken in that age, and it just so happens that they took the wrong girl because Liam had a certain set of skills, as we all remember. He was an ex-CIA guy, so he comes after them with a vendetta and tracks down his daughter, because basically they tell him if he doesn't find her in 96 hours, she'll, go off the radar, so to speak. So he's on a vendetta, and he's going after all of these people. Ethan starts from a different point because he's an ex-NASCAR racer, who's gone to start a new life with his wife, and he's more of a blue-collar guy, if you will, and a regular guy. They suddenly disrupt his life at Christmas and take his wife and tell him he's got to go back to doing what he did best, which was race and do these things, but he has no idea why. And at some point, Selena Gomez gets thrown into the car as well, which you find out why in the movie. And again, the trailer's separate because everybody thinks she's a carjacker, when in fact she's not. In fact, it's her car. That's the car he stole. So it's a different thing because Ethan is actually having, his strings pulled by this villain, whereas Liam wasn't at all in Taken. There is a point, though, where he turns the tables, and decides to take matters in his own hand to ultimately get his wife back. But it's a different story in that regard entirely, and a different motivation.
Now, speaking of Selena Gomez, this is a pretty odd choice to place her in this type of a action type of movie.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, the action is very intense in this movie. We did everything completely real, and it is a dark sort of movie in that regard, and so I understand what you're saying. It's a very strange place. But actually, I mean, the character she's playing is, called the Kid in the movie. In fact, you never even hear her character's name during the course of the entire movie. And she's actually the perfect person to be playing that particular character for the story of the film. It may seem an odd choice because of the nature of the film, but it doesn't in any way detract from it. There's not a bunch of silliness. She's not acting like the girl from Wizards of Waverly Place, or, I've read all these comments, or the girlfriend of Justin Bieber, which I'm not even sure if she's with him or not anymore. I don't know. It's hard to follow that that stuff. It's not that at all. She's actually playing a character that she's perfect to play, that is perfect for what the story of the movie is. So she's not out of place at all there. And actually, it's interesting. She surrounded herself in this movie with Ethan Hawke and Jon Voight.
Yeah.
And these are, Ethan's obviously Oscar nominated, Jon is obviously an Oscar winner, and they're both obviously fantastically talented and credible actors, if you will. And they both, when they first saw the movie, watched her performance and said, wow, she's great. She really did a good job in the movie. And, we all sell our own movie and whatever else. If I was selling this particular point, I just wouldn't be mentioning it, to be frank.
Yeah.
I'd just leave it unspoken. But no, she did a great job playing the part that she was supposed to play in the movie. And she fits for what that part is. But it was essentially a 17, 18-year-old girl that was supposed to be the owner of that car and in the car with him, and she actually fits the bill perfectly. And so I guess she's got a lot of, people get an image in their head, especially somebody with such celebrity as Selena. And they're like, oh my God, what's she going to do in this movie? She's going to cheese it up or she's going to ruin it. Not at all.
So basically, don't listen to the trolls then.
I would say that, yeah, I would say that. She's not a detractor in the movie as far as that's concerned. You're going to go see this movie because you want to see Ethan Hawke. He's fantastic in the movie. You want to go see this particular type of story, and you want to see, non-stop, very cool, real car action, and you're into that kind of movie. Or and of course the other character can't go unspoken, the Shelby Super Snake, because literally I always say to everybody, it's Ethan Hawke, it's Selena Gomez, and the Shelby Super Snake. That's the trio of main characters.
Yeah, that is true. The car is the third character. Why did you choose the Shelby Super Snake out of all the different?
Well, there's so many. It was a hard choice, because there's so many cool cars you could choose when doing a movie like this, and obviously then the fun of building it and decking it out and customizing it for the movie. So, but it's the quintessential American muscle car. That's what it is. And, actually the movie takes place in an Eastern European city, and I just thought it would be cool to have this fish out of water, if you will, as far as the car is concerned, in this Eastern European city where you'd never expect to see that car. Even just shooting there and living there for 7 months, cars you see are like Ferraris and Mercedes and European cars. I don't know how many Fords I even saw there, but not very many.
Do you own a Shelby Super Snake?
No. No, I've driven in a bunch of them now. I've destroyed one or two by accident while we were making the movie, which was not happy days. Producers weren't very happy about that. But no, I don't own a Shelby Super Snake.
Now, Jon Voight is also in the movie, but it's just mainly his voice most of the time?
No, he's on camera for a good portion of the movie. We just give you, different shots of him, but his voice is leading them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Well, him and others, should I say.
Oh, there's others too. But we'll have to watch for the movie for that.
That's right. We dupe you a little bit. We play around with it a bit. He's very well organized and very well thought out in what he does.
And what about the stunts, especially with the car scenes? I know you've done directing yourself, but this is entirely something different for yourself.
Well, I worked very closely with Charlie Pacherny, who's done stunt coordination and choreography, some of the biggest action movies, all the Lethal Weapon series, Die Hard series, all of those type of movies, and his sons and this Bulgarian stunt team. But everything we did in the movie was real. There's one CG shot in over 100 car stunts done in the movie. When I say car stunts, I mean car wrecks.
Yeah.
That doesn't count the number of stunts where they didn't wreck, just the actual car wrecks themselves. So it's truly, I think we have the highest count. And the other thing is that the movie was made with usually 40 cameras shooting on every shot because it's part of the story. So you might even notice from the trailer all these funky angles all over the place. It's because they're being watched the whole time. There's actually 9 cameras affixed to the inside of the car and 17 on the outside. And he's watching them on computer screens and every move they're making, which is why they have to do everything that he says, because he can see everything that they're doing. Otherwise, he says he will kill the wife.
How many cars did you use total?
We wrecked, we didn't always use a Shelby Super Snake, to be honest, in doing the stunts because it would have just been too expensive and impractical. We did unfortunately wreck 2 real ones by mistake doing stunts. We wrecked another 7 souped up Ford Mustangs that looked like Shelby Super Snakes, totaled, and we wrecked about another 75 assorted types of cars, from BMW 630's to Opals to BMW police cars, 5 Series, 3 Series, motorcycles, literally just trash. We literally had a junkyard at the end of the movie, which we sold for scrap metal or something like that.
So what was exactly the most difficult thing to direct in this movie then? Obviously, it's not wrecking all the cars. That part would be the easiest thing.
No, actually, it's not the easiest thing at all. Wrecking the cars is super hard because I was trying to go for a level of intensity that you hadn't seen practically done, and I used that word very carefully. I wanted you as an audience, when you saw the movie, to know going in that this was all real. It's one thing when you know it's CG, so it's great spectacle. But we didn't have the budget, quite frankly, to compare with like a Fast 6 that's got a, $170-180 million budget, and God bless them, fantastic and lots of fun. So we went back to what made the original Fast and the Furious interesting, and that was that they did all their stunts practically in that movie. And that, there was a lot of call everywhere, like when we did our research before we started shooting, of people saying, we want to see that again. We want to see Steve McQueen in Bullet. We want to see Steve McQueen in the original Getaway. In other words, how they did those movies. But we wanted to update that for the 2013 version versus the 1970s version. So actually doing the stunts is super, super, super hard to do because it's just not a simple thing. And then shooting with Ethan and Selena everything was hard about this movie, honestly. You wouldn't know it, but it really was. We had them. I refused to do the traditional stick them on a green screen and comp in the background moving, because they're in the car for the whole movie. They get out certain scenes, obviously, but for most of the movie, they're in the car. And that looks so fake to me. It even looks fake in huge, big budget movies to me. And I hear audiences saying it all the time. So we created a special rig, which a stunt driver was driving. I would sit beside the stunt driver facing them. The car was on the ground, attached to this rig, and then the camera crew was surrounding the car. And we would go around the corners at 60, 70 miles an hour, left, right, whatever. So when you see Ethan and Selena rocking to one side, rocking to the other side, banging around in the car, it's because they were really in it, and they were really in danger doing it. And so I think we have a total of like 21 green screen shots that we had to do because it was too dangerous for them to do. But otherwise, it was a real task to have to direct them that way while you were moving 60 to 70 miles an hour. And that's how the whole movie was made, literally. So it was just kind of insanity.
Personally, I can't sit in a car for, more than 5 hours. How long do you put these actors through in their torment?
They were in that car 10 hours a night.
Wow, that's probably the toughest.
Shot all the way through the night, because the movie mostly takes place over one night. And so it's pretty much night stuff. And it was the middle of the winter in Bulgaria, and they couldn't have the heat on, and it was like somewhere between -5 Celsius to -10 Celsius, which is, say, 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
And just out of
Not counting wind chill.
Oh, wow. And just out of curiosity, if you did have the Fast and Furious budget, what would you have done differently?
Oh, I think then you can have so much more spectacle, But I think I'm happy we did this one the way we did, because it's authentic and it's real, and with the interesting camera angles, because it goes with the story, you really get to feel the way that this is really happening. I'm not sure all the money in the world would get across the vision I was trying to get across.
Okay, terrific. And just to wrap things up, do you have any other projects that's coming up in the pipeline for yourself after The Getaway?
Well, not that I can talk about, but I have 3 directing projects as far as a director that I'm deciding on which one to do right now. I do need like a month off to have a break because I did this movie for 19 months. There was 630 hours of source footage for this movie, so it took 6 months just to edit it together. on top of the making time and then everything else. So I had a little bit of a break. I have a producing movie, which is a reboot of Dungeons and Dragons, which we're doing with Warner Brothers, and that's sort of like $100 million plus movie and an event movie.
I'm glad you brought that up. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I played that game quite a bit.
Oh, did you? Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Well, this one is going to be the proper version of it. It should be very, very cool. And we're just finding a director for that movie right now. So that's exciting. And then we have another couple of horror movies that we're working on through After Dark right now. So I've got all those things going on at the same time.
Okay, well, I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.